Following the response to our 7 best goalkeepers in world football right now video, and the request for us to make it into a series looking at each individual position building up to a final World 11, today we're moving on to our first outfield position, left back. The fullback positions have undergone a major transformation over the last decade, and one could make a case for a fullback's attacking output now being as important, if not more important, than their defensive duties these days. Obviously, the ideal fullback can do both with equal proficiency. As always, the 7 is based on current ability, but that doesn't mean current form, so we're not just looking at their last 6 to 10 games or anything like that, but nor are we including someone based on their past glories, so Ashley Cole will not be featuring here. The right now in the title is just to clarify between these type of current videos and our all-time videos. Also, as always, there will be some honourable mentions between first and second place. Right, here are our 7 best left backs in world football right now. Faouzi Ghoulam. We kick off our 7 with undoubtedly the least celebrated and least well-known player that we're going to mention today, and that includes the honourable mentions. Faouzi Ghoulam has been really impressive for a number of years now, having made his name in France with Saint Etienne and now being a key man in an impressive Napoli defence in Serie A. In the last 16 months, Ghoulam has ruptured his ACL, fractured his kneecap, and suffered a serious sprain to his knee ligaments, which required surgery. Those setbacks restricted him to 17 appearances last season and 8 so far this term, and the Algerian international is desperate to put his injury nightmares behind him. One could make a good argument that Napoli would have won the Serie A title last season if their flying fullback had avoided injury. Ghoulam is quick, tireless, and a magnificent crosser of the ball. At full fitness, he is undoubtedly among the best left backs in the world, as well as possessing a tremendous long throw that can be a real weapon at times. The 28-year-old beat the likes of Riyad Mahrez and Yassin Brahimi to be named as the 2017 Algerian Footballer of the Year, and he takes 7th place for us. Lucas Hernandez. Atletico Madrid have 2 excellent left backs available to their excellent backline in the forms of Felipe Luis and Lucas Hernandez. Luis will make our honourable mentions, whilst Hernandez makes the 7 proper. The youngest player in this 7 having just turned 23, and like most modern fullbacks, Hernandez's real strengths lie in the defensive side of his game. Brilliant at neutralising his opposite number, Hernandez is strong in the tackle and tight in his marking. He's also fairly quick and happy to put in the hard yards, but it's his defensive solidity that ensures his inclusion, and he should be a really top player under the tutelage of Diego Simeone at Atletico in 2 or 3 years. Capped 15 times by France, Hernandez has already registered more than a century of appearances at the Wanda Metropolitano, and he takes 6th place in our left back 7. Alex Telles. At the age of 26, I have to say I'm a little bit surprised that Alex Telles is still with Porto. The uncapped Brazilian fullback arrived in the Primeira Liga from Galatasaray, and he has been exceptional ever since. He has made the Primeira Liga Team of the Season in each of the last 2 seasons, and was even named as FC Porto's Player of the Year last year as the club won the Primeira Liga title. Of course, there will be those who say, well, it's all well and good doing that in Portugal, but it's not really a true test of a player to make a 7 such as this. But those people are wrong. Telles is a really talented all-round fullback who is quick, creative, and a fine crosser of the ball down the left flank, as well as being measured, astute, and calm at the back. Porto proved they're a decent side by going unbeaten and topping their group during the Champions League group stages, and Telles is arguably their best player. As you can tell, we rate him highly, and the former Inter Milan loanee comes in at 5th for us. Sandro. From one Brazilian Alex to another, when Alex Telles arrived at Porto, he was filling a void vacated by his compatriot, Sandro. Sandro had also made the Primeira Liga Team of the Season twice, and he has since made the Serie A Team of the Season twice as well. Signed for less than €10 million, Porto sold Sandro to Juventus for €26 million, but that was still an absolute bargain for the old lady. The 28-year-old is one of the most accomplished fullbacks in the world. So confident with the ball at his feet, Sandro has excellent technique, he's fast, and he can beat a player. In the opposite direction, his pace acts as a get-out-of-jail free card, but he's also strong and a force to be reckoned with in the tackle. We rate all of our top 4 very highly, and I got in a few arguments with myself about their ordering. Not literal arguments, I'm not insane or a schizophrenic or anything, I just mean I had a few internal arguments and altered their rankings in my notepad a few times. In the end though, Sandro comes in at 4th place. Jordi Alba. Defensively, I'd say Sandro is slightly superior to Jordi Alba, and in an attacking sense, I'd say Alba edges it over Sandro. In truth, there's not a fat lot to separate the two, but I just about feel as though Alba edges it overall, having been so important to Barcelona at times over the last 6 or 7 years. A left back who will take any opportunity to get further up the pitch, Alba is fortunate that he is playing in a pretty high starting position in a Barcelona side which tends to dominate proceedings, whoever they are playing. Alba is very quick, his touch and technique are excellent, and his movement on the overlap and the way he peels off defenders is very difficult to counteract. He has 10 assists for Barcelona in La Liga and the Champions League this season, which is second only to Lionel Messi, as well as chipping in with a couple of goals. Those are pretty remarkable statistics for a fullback, and Alba is our bronze medalist here. David Alaba. A player of outstanding pedigree, David Alaba was probably widely considered to be the best left-back in the world at the age of 22, and it looks as though he should stay there for the next decade or more. The Austrian international's form wavered following the departure of Pep Guardiola though, and his exceptional versatility and varied skill set started to work against him. He began playing in central midfield, particularly with the national team, and perhaps just forgot some of the fundamentals of his game as a fullback. Last season, Alaba brought that defensive solidity back into his game, and he looks a far more accomplished player for it. We hope he sticks at left back, where he can be a truly special talent, and continues to keep improving. Still only 26, Alaba has all the tools to be the best fullback in the world. He has a terrific work rate, he's a top-class athlete, and he is actually a very naturally gifted footballer. His defensive positioning is sometimes found wanting, and his deliveries into the box aren't as consistent as the likes of Alba's or Ghoulam's, but his overall game is very good, so we rank him second. The honourable mentions. Whilst our goalkeeper 7 featured 3 Premier League players, our left back 7 features none, and this may well be the only video in this series not to feature a single player from England's top flight. We must mention some in our honourable mentions though, starting with Liverpool's number 26 Andy Robertson. A big favourite at Anfield, the former Hull City defender has fantastic energy and is capable of whipping one of those sensational flat balls in behind a defence which are so horrible to defend against. We really like Robertson, who clearly suits Jurgen Klopp's style down to the ground, but he isn't as accomplished as our 7 defensively, and still looks a little bit vulnerable up against a top-class wide man. Manchester City left-back Benjamin Mendy is also very attack-minded, and his offensive output when fit has been extraordinary, but he hasn't been fit anywhere near enough since arriving at the Etihad. Not long ago, Marcos Alonso's name may well have been thrown into the hat, and his attacking output at Chelsea is almost as impressive, but the Spaniard has looked a real liability at the back over the last 12 months. Outside of England, Alexander Kolarov may be 33 now, but he's been brilliant since signing for Roma, and had to make our shortlist. Then there's Jonas Hector, who is a really accomplished and dependable left back, and still Joachim Löw's first choice in that position in the German national team, despite playing second-tier football in Germany with Cologne. Those are probably the 4 or 5 players who came closest to making our 7. Make sure to subscribe to HITC Sevens to keep up with the rest of this series as we build to our World 11 and squad. And here is your top spot. Marcelo. Ultimately, it has to be Marcelo who takes top spot in this 7. Whilst we are big fans of all of our top 4, and Sandro, Alba and Alaba could all arguably be rotated, Marcelo in top spot was never really up for debate. The only player in our 7 who made the shortlist for our 7 greatest left backs of all time video, and I won't spoil whether he made the 7 proper for you here, Marcelo has been performing at the highest level for so long now. The reason that Alex Telles hasn't yet won a cap for Brazil and Alex Sandro has only won 13 is because Marcelo has been so formidable for over a decade. Roberto Carlos' heir apparent in both the Real Madrid and Brazilian national team starting 11s, Marcelo is a real force on the left flank. Technically superb, Marcelo's touch rarely lets him down, and nor do his deliveries into the box. He isn't the quickest player in this 7, but he is a powerful runner whose intelligent runs and ability on the ball make him a real outlet down the left flank. Defensively, Marcelo still leaves a little to be desired, although he has improved in that respect as his career has gone on. Now aged 30, Marcelo has made the FIFA Pro World 11 5 times, which is a record among left backs, and second only to Dani Alves in terms of fullbacks, so he takes top spot for us. So that's it for our 7. Thanks for watching, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications for more from us if you enjoyed the video, and you can now also follow us on Twitter for more ramblings from me. Our username is simply @HITC Sevens.